some of the sacrifice being sharp or super fresh for all of the races, and just rest like 3 days so that my body is not unfit come a week after the big race.
Cool. Just taking a few steps back, you said you kind of gave up your swimming dreams after swimming at the Olympic trials in 2000, for the 2000 Olympics,
Yeah.
the trials were. You got a real job. What was your real job?
Well, I started out, to be honest, I knew that I wanted to teach. I wanted to teach literature. That was my passion. That was what I studied. And I was pretty certain that I wanted to go back to school and work on a doctorate in English. But to make my parents happy, my parents had great aspirations of me being some big businesswoman and making a bunch of money, and weren't super psyched about me being a teacher and never, making a lot of money, that kind of thing. But I didn't care, but I also recognized that if I was going to have a go at corporate America, I had to do it in this order. So from school, I went and I worked in corporate communications at some internet startup company. I worked in a freaking cubicle, and I wanted to shoot myself.
So I bet you loved that.
Only thing I loved was my lunch break when I would escape and go running. And then get in trouble for taking too long a lunch break. So I lasted there for about 8 months, and then found myself I went to the inner city. I was living in Northern California. I went to East Palo Alto and was teaching kids in the inner city, and got a full-time job there teaching the following year. And that was when I applied to graduate school, and after that moved back down to LA to do a PhD program in English and teach at my alma mater at USC. So I started that in 2002, right about the time that I did my first Hawaii Ironman as an age grouper. And I did that for 2.5 years, and I absolutely loved it. I mean, I pinched myself every day that I had been fortunate enough to get into this program and to be teaching at this school that I love so much. But at the end of the day, over those 2.5 years, I got more and more into triathlon, and I was really burning the candle at both ends. I was, just studying until I couldn't keep my eyes open anymore, getting up super early, 4 o'clock in the morning to go swim, and sometimes I would do a track session and then walk straight into my classroom and teach, which I know is really disgusting, but that's what I would do. And because I taught right next to the track at USC, so it was very convenient. But on some level, I realized that not only was I not giving myself a chance to really see what I could do with triathlon, because I was exhausted all the time and didn't have enough time I was training a lot, but I wasn't recovering properly. Not only was I sort of squandering that opportunity, but I was squandering the intellectual opportunity as well, because at the end of the day, I couldn't get all of my work done. And what scared me was that I was passing my classes, I was passing my exams, and I found myself nearing the end of my coursework at the university, and I thought, gosh, I could be learning so much more if I had more time. So I decided to put that on hold and give this a go full time, and that was at the beginning of 2005.
Cool, 2005. So you worked in the inner city with the kids in there, and now you're a full-time athlete. Would you ever bring the two together of working for inner city underprivileged kids and bringing the sport aspect into it? Is that something that
I mean, funny you mention it. I'm actually doing an event with a group like that just next week with Cherie Grunfeld's Exceeding Expectations charity. When I was in LA in graduate school, I worked with this group. Cherie, as a lot of people probably know, is a 60-plus, many-time age group champion in Hawaii, Ironman athlete, total stud. I want to be like her when I grow up. And she started this charity because she went to talk to kids at a school in the inner city about Ironman, and she went to just give a little talk. And this was several years ago now, and they were such a good group and so interested that she thought, heck, I should bring them into this and see how we can get them more active and give them a positive sort of outlet. And so she started a group with these school kids. Initially, it was just getting them to do running races, then triathlons, and I actually volunteered. Some of them couldn't swim back several years ago, and I actually volunteered to do the swimming leg of a triathlon with this group. So I would swim, and then my kid, who was my partner, would do the bike and the run. And in meeting these kids back, I guess it was 2003, 2004, I realized that they were getting together and riding their bikes and swimming and running kind of just for races. So Cherie would get a bunch of volunteers to take them to a race, and they would do the event, but they never got to ride their bikes or whatever otherwise, because these kids can't have nice bikes at home. It's just
Yeah.
it's not safe. And so I started organizing through the LA Tri Club, because that was a group I was involved with at the time. Was we organized groups of 10 or 20 of us one weekend a month to go like inland to where the kids are, and have a training afternoon with them, so that not only did it give them a sort of a positive thing and like an activity for the weekend that was productive and safe and healthy and all these things, but it gave them a chance to practice their skills besides just showing up at the race, and it was a really, really awesome thing. And obviously I went on the road and joined Brett Sutton and no longer live in LA, but I'm really excited because when I go home for Christmas in a couple of weeks, I get to meet with the kids and go to their year-end awards, and the organization has just grown and grown, and Cherie has now been able to raise money and sending some of the kids to college, and
Oh, wow.
it's really, and she has made just a huge difference in these kids' lives, and that's something I would love to be more involved with if logistics permit. So
Cool. Well, excellent. Well, thanks for sitting down with us. Hopefully people learned a little bit about who you are behind the scenes, not just crazy racing Ironman woman.